Very good evening. This is Straight Talk program where we really discuss politics. But tonight there's a change. We're going to discuss with my guest about a special book. I'll save some of the best for later. Welcome, Ian Campbell, secondary school teacher, and I'll be having 8 questions for you. But before I start into the question, Mr. Campbell, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, first of all, good day. It's nice being here. I am a teacher. I'm an English teacher for over a decade, and I'm here to promote the book, or I should say, the novella, Animal Farm.
The novel and Animal Farm. Okay. Before I delve right into the, as we in Guyana like to say, the nitty gritty of the book, I'd just like you to give me a background of the author and the inspiration, you know, for the text of.
Okay, so to answer your question on the background and the inspiration of what actually caused the book Animal Farm to be written is that the author, his real name actually is Eric Arthur Blair. However, his pen name was George Orwell, and he was born on the 25th of June 1903 to parents, the father being in the civil service of the Indian Army. However, he was British, and his mother, that was in Burma actually, and his mother was of French descent. They came up in a middle class upbringing, a lower middle class upbringing, so they did not have the best of lives. And what he would have witnessed is he was also inspired by the Trotskyist group during the Spanish Civil War, and this was the revolution in 1917, where he would have gained inspiration because communism actually led to a dictatorship under the failure of Mr. Tsar Nicholas II. So the book is actually an allegory of what would have transpired here.
Okay. Well done. Could you give the audience a brief historical content of the novel?
Okay, well, the book Animal Farm, 1945, is actually premised on the Russian Revolution of 1917, whereby Tsar II, he was actually a failure in terms of allocating his resources justly, and which led to huge market failure under his reign. So Animal Farm actually shows or depicts these rulers that actually took over under the pretext that they would actually do better, but actually ended up doing worse.
Okay, my third question. Could you give us a little more detail about the plot and the overview?
Okay, well, the plot actually sees rulers in human form. This is the book actually. The humans are actually ruling the farm. However, Mr. James became drunk, and after he was intoxicated, these animals colluded and decided to overthrow him. And within these animals, amongst themselves, there were some pigs, namely Napoleon, Snowball, and Squealer. And they were the revolutionists, or I should say the trailblazers. They had the wit more than the other animals. So what would have happened is that they formed a hierarchy, and this hierarchy, they were supposed to actually rule better than the humans actually ruled, but they did not. And as the plot continues, it unravels to show that Napoleon was very narcissistic, and what he actually did, he actually got rid of the other pig that was supposed to be his ally. He got rid of Snowball with force, And in getting rid of Snowball, his second man in command, Squealer, was his propaganda person, who would have spoken many things that were not true, deceiving the public. And I must say this, that after, or I should say from the beginning, whereby um, Snowball had the idea to build a windmill, Napoleon was against it. However, when Napoleon actually saw it would have been beneficial, Napoleon tried his utmost to exile Snowball and then use the windmill as his idea. So going forward, Mr. Fredericks would have actually came to purchase some wood from the farm. However, this was actually against the natural feelings of some of the farm animals. But still, the narcissistic ruler in Napoleon decided to go forward with it. What ended up happening is that Mr. Fredericks would have paid Napoleon in counterfeit. And because he paid him in counterfeit, it ensued it into, let's say, a war. And this war would have seen one of the most loyal animals on the farm, which was Boxer, a horse, him being severely injured. And with no empathy and no mercy, instead of Napoleon actually coming to his aid, Napoleon actually carried him to be slaughtered. So this is very important and it must be said. Mr. Napoleon had absolutely no empathy and no remorse. And fast forward, the a year after, the farm animals would have actually went to a room and they would have seen Napoleon and the humans actually being allies, since they could not tell them apart. And that's when they realized that Napoleon was not good and they had the revolution, and that's the end of the plot.
Okay, just analyze one major conflict in the novel.
Okay, a major conflict in the novel could be seen whereby Napoleon would have gotten into conflict with the other pig, who is Snowball. So Snowball came up with the idea of building the windmill. Napoleon was against it. However, when he realized it would have been beneficial, he actually got rid of Snowball to use it in his idea. So a very massive conflict there was him actually doing that what dictators do, and not in the best interest of all. So he was a liar and deceiver and very manipulative.
Okay, just tell us a little about the author's presentation of the characterization.
Okay, this is a very simple one. The characterization basically shows three different aspects: the pigs, the farm animals, and the humans. The humans, they were the first rulers, and they were seen to be somewhat bad, for the lack of a better term. Um, the farm animals, they were loyal, they were hardworking, but they were very gullible. The pigs, however, they were scheming and they were very manipulative. So that is how you could actually characterize the three within the novel.
Okay, there were major and minor themes in this novel. How would you analyze two of the major themes?
Okay, to begin with, dishonesty. This could be exemplified whereby it is clearly shown that Napoleon was dishonest in the way he actually ruled, because he he it was very ironic because he was one of the persons who were actually using Snowball to actually say that ruling is not easy and ruling is a task, but they were all enjoying the benefits of ruling as if they really wanted to rule. And he would have deceived not just the farm animals, but he also deceived Snowball, the way he would have ruled. Um, and the other one is ignorance. The other theme is ignorance. Ignorance could be portrayed because lack of knowledge. And the farm animals, they knew how to vote, but they could not make other decisions on their own. And sometimes, in spite of them knowing that the pigs were doing them wrong, they still ignorantly allowed it.
Okay, one of the narratives that authors really use excessively these days is the use of irony. Could you say, whether irony was effective in the narrative of this novel?
Yes, definitely. There were three types of irony used. There was verbal irony, dramatic irony, and situational irony. Verbal irony basically when someone says something but does the opposite, and that could be clearly seen by the way the pigs were actually ruling, in contrast to how they actually say they would have been ruling. Now, dramatic irony is when the audience or the reader knows more than some of the characters within the play, so they are already privy to what is happening, but the some of the characters were ignorant. And with dramatic irony, it is clear that if you were the reader, you could actually almost see the outcome of what is to happen, but the ignorant masses in the farm animals, they did not know. So that in itself is dramatic irony. And the final one is situation irony, where something is said to happen, but the opposite end up happening. And thus clearly that was shown in the way they were ruling, and when they said all animals were equal, yet they did not treat all animals equal.
Okay, my final question would be in reference to the realities of today's society. Just, I think, give the audience 2 or 3 reasons why you would suggest someone should read
Okay,
this novel.
this novel is very informative, and knowledge is power. This novel informs us, anyone who would read it, about the true nature of human beings, and when power is actually given to persons, how they could abuse it. That is one. And two, enlightenment. When you're actually enlightened as to how things happen within the political sphere, then you would know what decisions you could actually make. Then you could know what rights you have. Then you could actually know, based on previous situations, how to make a current situation better and how to predict the future.
Thank you very much, sir. It was a very brief but knowledge sharing interview, and I want to encourage you to keep up your good work. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Pause. End.